Dr. Jose Rizal spent his last 4 years in this remote town of Mindanao. It was tediously unexciting but also full of varied achievement. Rizal continued his medicine and his artistic works in Dapitan. Dapitan was a significant place and time for Dr. Jose Rizal because this is where he met his last lover named Josephine Bracken. They had a son but unfortunately he died. While in Dapitan, Dr. Jose Rizal established a school with 21 pupils who were never asked to pay but required to work in the communities. Dr. Jose Rizal's only addiction was the lottery. He once won the lottery together with two other people, receiving 6,200. He sent 2,000 pesos to his father and 200 for his friend Basa. He never drank liquor or smoked, but he was sure a lottery addict. Even when he was in Madrid, he consistently spent 3 pesetas in lottery tickets every month. In all his letters to Father Pastels, Dr. Jose Rizal reveals his anti-Catholic ideas which he had acquired in Europe and embitterment at his persecution by the bad friars. He argued that the friars should stop using church as a shield and using religion as a weapon, castle and fortress. He also added that everyone should make use of judgment to save someone for unworthy acts. Dr. Jose Rizal was even challenged by a businessman named Mr. Juan Lardet to a duel. It started when he wrote a letter of disgust to Antonio Miranda, a friend of Rizal, about the logs having a poor quality. When Dr. Jose Rizal happened to read the letter, he flared up in anger to the Frenchman's unsavory comment, challenging him to a duel. 4 priests tried to bring Dr. Jose Rizal back to the Catholic fold, but none of them succeeded in their mission. Even the most beloved Jesuit priest, Father Sanchez, wasn't able to complete his mission. Rizal's idyllic life in Dapitan was when he was visited by his mother, his sisters such as Trinidad, Maria, Narcisa, and few nephews. He built 2 houses for himself and for the students and the hospital for his patients. The one who was named Pablo Mercado offered his service to be courier of Rizal's letter and writing for the Patriots in Manila. Rizal became suspicious to the impostor's lies. He wanted to throw him out of the house, but because he was a mindful host and considering the late hour night and heavy rainfall, he invited the unwanted visitor to stay at his house for the night. Next day, he sent him away. Rizal go back to his daily course, but then he learned that the spy was still in Dapitan, telling people that he was Rizal's relative. His rich patients paid him handsomely for his surgical skills. Rizal, being a famous physician, particularly an eye specialist, he had many patients who came from different parts of Philippines, Luzon, Bohol, Cebu, Panay, Negros, and Mindanao, even from Hong Kong. Rizal also became interested in the local medicine and in the use of medicinal plants. Modern engineer marveled on Rizal's work because he had inadequate tools and meager materials and his finance were very limited. Rizal succeeded in giving a good water system to Dapitan. In 1893, Rizal established a school with only 3 pupils at the beginning, and it became 16 to 21. To his letter to Bloomingtreet, he said that his students did not pay any tuition. Instead of charging them tuition fees, he made them work in his garden, fields, and construction projects in the community. He taught them reading, writing, languages, geography, history, mathematics, industrial work, nature study, morals, and gymnastics. He taught to love work and behave like men. Classes were conducted between 2 o'clock p.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. Rizal, seated on handmak while his pupil is in the long bamboo bench. Rizal operated his mother's eye and it was successful, but his mother don't listen to his son's instruction and removed the bandage on her eyes. So the wound was infected, but luckily her eyes was fully restored because of Rizal. In Dapitan, he devoted his time to agriculture. He bought 16 hectares of land in Talisay where he built his home, school, and hospital, and planted cacao, coffee, sugarcane, coconuts, and fruit trees. On his farm, he introduced modern methods of agriculture which he had observed in Europe and America. His pupils helped him in the daily farm labor. He encouraged the Dapitan powers to discard their primitive system of tillage and adopt the modern agricultural methods. He imported agricultural machinery from the United States. He invited his relatives and friends, especially those in Calambak, to come to his projected agricultural colony. As Doña Teodora's eyesight has fully restored, she saw how busy her talented son was. Rizal made his poem, and after it finished, he sent it to his mother on October 22, 1895. This poem, entitled Mi Retiro, My Retreat, was a piece of manuscript describing Jose Rizal's exile in Dapitan, where from 1892 to 1896, he lived an exciting but fruitful life. Even in his exile, Rizal proved that life can still be abundant and full of achievements. Josephine Bracken is an 18-year-old Irish girl who was there from Hong Kong together with his foster father who was a blind man. They reached Dapitan with the help of Manuela Orlac, their Filipino companion. They fly to Manila to consult and seek the service of the famous Dr. Jose Rizal because no one in Hong Kong can cure George Stauffer, Josephine's foster father. The love between Jose Rizal and Josephine Bracken was grown at the first glance they shared. This love ended the marriage, but their marriage was refused by Father Ubac, the priest in Dapitan and the foster father of Joseph. However, despite of disapproval and was objected by George Fowler and Father, didn't stop the love of the two. Rizal and Josephine exchanged their vows in the place where God is the only witness. Rizal praised Josephine and made Dapitan as heaven of bliss. He made a poem for Josephine entitled Josephine. Josephine, this poem shows the undying love of Rizal for Josephine, that wherever she goes, the love of Rizal remains unchanged. The love of Rizal and Josephine bore a fruit. Josephine got pregnant. She was so happy then and excited to see the baby. But Rizal do a prank game, so she gave a premature birth to an 8-month-old baby boy who lived for only 3 hours and was named Francisco, named after Rizal's father. In the midst of mourning, the aroused of revolution of Katipunan, led by Bonifacio, are happening. Rizal did not agree in a revolution in 2 reasons, because Filipinos are not ready for revolution. Arms and funds must collected first. He also refused to accept the help offered by Katipunan about his freedom. Rizal lived Dapitan with Josephine, his 2 sisters, nephew, and students. When he was in the sea, he looked behind and waved far from his Dapitan.